My fiancée thought I didn't know about her secret profile, where she met rich men. I created a fake account and booked a date. When she walked into the hotel room, expecting a client, she found me and her parents sitting on the bed waiting for an explanation. I 32 male work as a forensic accountant. My entire career is built on finding things people are trying desperately to hide. Fraud, embezzlement, money laundering. I was 3 months out from marrying my fiancée. Let's just call her my ex. She was stunning, charming, and portrayed herself as this driven freelance social media manager. That job title is vague enough to cover a lot of irregular hours and constant phone usage, which I never questioned. I was the primary provider, paying the mortgage on our suburban home, all the utilities, and the bulk of the wedding expenses. I didn't mind. I make good money, and I honestly thought we were building a life together. I thought I was investing in a partnership. Turns out, I was just an unwitting angel investor in her bad decisions. The house of cards started to sway on a Monday morning. She was in the shower, and her phone was sitting on the nightstand. Usually, she kept it face down or in her hand, but she must have slipped up. The screen lit up with a notification. It wasn't a text or a social media alert. It was from a niche fintech banking app, one of those offshore-style digital wallets that prioritize privacy. The banner read, "Deposit received, $3,500. Reference, weekend bonus." My forensic brain woke up before I did. My ex's clients were local boutiques and bakeries. They paid in invoices of $500, or maybe $1,000 tops. Nobody pays a weekend bonus of $3,500 on a Monday morning. I didn't confront her immediately. In my line of work, you don't tip off the suspect until you have the smoking gun. I acted normal, kissed her goodbye, and went to work, but my mind was racing. That night, I waited until she passed out watching Netflix. I know her passcode. She gave it to me ages ago to order sushi and never changed it, banking on my blind trust. I didn't go to her texts. Amateurs delete texts. I went to the hidden folder in her app library, and there it was, an app for a notorious sugar dating site. I felt the blood drain out of my face, leaving me cold. I opened it. Her profile was active. Her handle was luxgirl_24. Her bio was a punch to the gut. Classy, educated companion for generous gentlemen. No drama, just pleasure. $1,500 for dinner. $3,000 for overnight. NDA required. The gallery was worse. It was full of photos, some of which I had taken of her on our romantic getaways, cropped to cut me out. Others were explicit selfies taken in our master bathroom, the bathroom I paid for, while I was likely downstairs working on spreadsheets. I scrolled to her messages. This wasn't a one-time thing. She had been active for the entire 2 years we had been together. But the nail in the coffin was a message exchange from 3 days prior with a user named Finance King. Finance King, can I see you this weekend? Her, can't. My boring ATM is dragging me to a tasting. But once the wedding is done and I secure the bag, I'll have way more free time for trips. Just need to lock down the assets first. Winky face. I stared at the screen. Boring ATM. That's what I was. I wasn't a partner. I was a retirement plan she was securing before she continued her career on the side. She was brokering me. I put the phone back exactly as I found it. I didn't sleep. I lay there next to her, listening to her breathe, plotting the most nuclear detonation of a relationship imaginable. The next morning, Tuesday, I initiated the operation. I bought a burner phone and a prepaid Visa card. I created an account on the site. I became Alexander, a 58-year-old oil consultant from Texas, flying into town for business. I used stock photos of a distinguished older man in a bespoke suit. I set my income bracket to unlimited. I messaged her, new in town, looking for the best. Money is no object for the right company. $5,000 for an evening up front. Can you host? Or should I book the Ritz? The response was almost immediate. Hi, Alexander. I'm available. The Ritz sounds lovely. I love a man who knows what he wants. Friday night. Friday. She knew I had a late meeting with a client on Friday and wouldn't be home until 9 p.m. Friday is perfect. I replied, I'll book the presidential suite. 8 p.m. Don't be late. I'll be worth the wait, she typed back. Wednesday morning at breakfast, I watched her sip her matcha. She looked so innocent. Good news? I asked. Oh, just a client, she said, flashing that practice smile. They love the strategy deck, but they need me for an emergency launch event Friday night. I might be super late. That's a shame, I said, buttering my toast. I guess I'll just see you when you get in. I wasn't just going to catch her. I was going to humiliate her in front of the only people whose opinion she actually cared about. I called her parents. Her father is a retired military officer, rigid, proud, big on honor. Her mother is a devout woman who thinks wearing white after Labor Day is a sin. They treated me like a son. They were constantly bragging to their church friends about their daughter's fairy tale engagement. Hi, father's name, I said, making my voice sound giddy. Look, I have a massive surprise for her this Friday. A pre-wedding gift. I've booked a suite at the Ritz. I want you both there to surprise her when she walks in. It's going to be a moment she never forgets. That sounds wonderful, son, he boomed. We'll be there with bells on. The trap was set. Friday arrived. The tension in my chest was so tight it felt like a physical weight. I left work early, went to a hotel, and checked into the presidential suite at 6 p.m. It was obscene, marble everywhere, view of the skyline, champagne on ice. I wasn't wearing a tux. I was wearing jeans and a polo. I wasn't Alexander. I was the executioner of her comfort. At 7:15 p.m., her parents arrived. Her mom was in her Sunday best, clutching a gift bag. Her dad was in a blazer. They looked around the suite, eyes wide. You really went all out, her mom whispered. She is going to be so surprised. She certainly is, I said. I wanted tonight to be about total transparency. No more secrets before the wedding. You're a good man, her dad said, patting my back. She's lucky. I checked the burner phone. Her, on my way. Wearing that black dress you liked in the pics. Have the cash ready. Alexander, waiting for you. Room 404. I looked at her parents. Okay, here's the plan. When she knocks, I'm going to open the door. I want you both sitting right here on the edge of the bed. We'll yell surprise together. They giggled. They actually giggled. They had no idea they were sitting on the firing line. 8 p.m. exactly. A confident, rhythmic knock. I took a deep breath. This was it. If I opened this door, everything I had known for 2 years was gone. But looking back at the ATM text in my mind, I knew it was already gone. I swung the door open. She stood there. She looked incredible, objectively speaking. She was wearing a black dress that was barely legal, backless, plunging neckline, a slit up to her hip. She had a faux fur coat draped loosely over her shoulders. She was wearing a seductive smile, ready to charm an oil tycoon. Hello, Alexan. The name died in her throat. Her eyes locked onto mine. The seductress mask shattered, replaced by a look of sheer, unadulterated confusion and panic. Hey, honey, I said, my voice dead calm. You're right on time for your client. What are you doing here? She stammered, pulling her coat tight, suddenly realizing how exposed she was. I can explain. I was just... Come in, I said, stepping aside. The client is waiting. Stop it. You're freaking me out, she hissed, trying to back away down the hall. I'm leaving. I wouldn't do that, I said loudly enough for the room to hear. Your surprise is inside. She froze. She looked at me, then slowly looked past me into the room. Her eyes landed on the bed. Mom? Dad? The silence that followed was heavy enough to crush bones. Her parents sat there, smiles dissolving into masks of horror. They took in her outfit, the slit in the dress, the context of the hotel room, the look on my face. Jessica? Her mother whispered, not her real name, obviously. What are you wearing? Why did he say you were meeting client? She stumbled into the room. The door clicked shut behind her. She looked from me to them, her brain misfiring as she tried to calculate a lie that could cover a disaster of this magnitude. It's not what it looks like, she screeched. It's always the first thing they say. He set me up. He told me to come here. I did, I said, pulling the burner phone out. I'm Alexander. I held the screen up for her father. The chat log was open. The solicitation. The price negotiation. The explicit photos she had sent Alexander just an hour ago. Her father stood up, his face turning a dark, dangerous shade of purple. He walked over, snatched the phone, and read the screen. "Daddy, don't look at that," she screamed, lunging for him. He held her back with one stiff arm, reading the text where she called me a boring ATM. He looked up at her, disgust radiating off him in waves. You are selling yourself? While engaged to this man. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. As the shock wore off, her face hardened. She realized the innocent act was dead, so she switched to the only weapon she had left, entitlement. "So, what?" she spat, straightening her coat. "So what if I am? Do you think you provide enough? You think your little salary covers the life I deserve?" "Jessica," her mother gasped. "Shut up, Mom," she yelled. "You raised me to settle. I'm not settling. Look at him." She pointed a manicured finger at me. "He counts pennies. He tracks a budget. I have needs. I have standards." I leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "You have a $5,000 a month allowance from me, plus the credit cards." "That's nothing," she shrieked. "Do you know what my friends have? Do you know what kind of world I'm trying to break into? I was doing this for us." "For us?" I laughed bitterly. "You told Alexander you were going to dump me after you secured the assets. You were building an exit fund." She narrowed her eyes. "Yeah, I was. Because you're a stepping stone. You're safe. But I needed capital. Then came the twist I hadn't even fully anticipated. And I needed to pay off Mark's legal fees," she blurted out, her arrogance getting the better of her. Her father froze. "Mark? Your ex-boyfriend? The dealer? He's an entrepreneur," she defended instantly. "And he's in trouble. He needed bail money, and he needed a lawyer. I wasn't going to let him rot in jail. He understands me. He has passion." I felt a cold clarity. The money wasn't just for shoes. She was funneling my money and her illicit earnings to fund the defense of the man she was actually in love with. A guy arrested for distribution 3 years ago. "So," I said, "you're prostituting yourself to fund your criminal ex's legal defense, while planning to marry me, take half my assets in a divorce, and run off with him. It's called strategy," she sneered. "And you were too stupid to see it until now." She turned to her father. "Daddy, let's go. This is humiliating. He's clearly abusive for setting this up. This is psychological warfare." "Abusive?" I asked. "Yes. You entrapped me. You invaded my privacy." She was grasping at straws, trying to weaponize modern buzzwords. "I could sue you for this. I could tell everyone you hit me." She looked around the room, her eyes landing on a heavy crystal vase on the console table. "In fact," she whispered, her voice dropping, "who are they going to believe? The poor crying bride or controlling jealous psycho?" She lunged for the vase. She wasn't going to hit me. She was going to hit herself. She was going to stage a domestic assault right there in the Ritz-Carlton to blackmail me. But her father was faster. The old military reflexes kicked in. He intercepted her, grabbing her wrist midair before she could smash the vase against her own collarbone. He wrenched it from her grip and shoved her back onto the sofa. "That is enough," he roared. The sound shook the walls. "You are done. Do you hear me? You are done." She looked at him, shocked. "You're taking a side?" "There are no sides here," her mother said, standing up, tears streaming down her face. "There is right and there is wrong. And you are... I don't even know who you are." "Get out," I said. "I'm checking out. You can pay for the room if you want to stay." "I'm not going anywhere," she screamed. "I have rights. We're common law. I want the house. I want a settlement. We aren't married," I reminded her. "And we live in a state that doesn't recognize common law for cohabitation of 2 years. You have nothing." "I have the ring." She flashed the 2-carat diamond. "That's a gift. It's mine." "Actually," I said, pulling a folded paper from my back pocket, "I spoke to my lawyer this morning. In our state, an engagement ring is a conditional gift. The condition is the marriage. If the marriage doesn't happen, the gift is revoked, especially when the fault lies with the recipient. I toss the demand letter on the table. You're going to give me that ring, or I'm going to sue you for its value, plus the legal fees, plus the $40,000 I spent on wedding deposits. I'll sell it, she yelled. I'll pawn it right now. Go ahead, I said. I have the receipt, the GIA certificate, and insurance in my name. You sell it. It's grand larceny. You want to join Mark in a cell? She froze. The reality of the legal system was finally piercing her delusion. I hate you, she whispered. I have always hated you. The feeling, I said, opening the door, is finally mutual. The fallout was swift and brutal. She stormed out of the hotel. Her parents stayed behind for a moment, apologizing profusely. Her dad looked broken. I told him it wasn't his fault. I had a process server waiting at our house the next morning. I had changed the locks and the alarm code while I was at the hotel. When she tried to get in, she was served with an eviction notice and a lawsuit for the return of personal property, the ring, and damages. She tried to spin the narrative online, posting about how I was controlling and she had to escape. But I had the nuclear option. I didn't post the photos. That's illegal revenge porn. But I did respond to cancellation inquiries. When her aunt commented, "Stay strong, he doesn't deserve you," I replied, "The wedding is canceled because she's been working as an escort to fund her ex-boyfriend's legal defense. Ask her about Alexander." I sent the screenshots of the ATM text to her parents. They showed the rest of the family. To clear my name, she became a pariah within 48 hours. Because she had no lease and paid nothing, the eviction was easy. She tried to claim squatters' rights, but my lawyer crushed it. She was given 7 days to vacate with a police escort. Mark, who was out on bail, showed up to help her move. He tried to intimidate me, but I had hired off-duty cops for security. He kept his mouth shut. The legal battle for the ring took 3 months. She had pawned it to pay Mark's new lawyer. The judge ruled in my favor immediately due to the conditional gift laws and the evidence of her infidelity, since she couldn't produce the ring. The court garnered her wages, but she didn't have a real job, so the judgment destroyed her credit. She was blacklisted from renting any decent apartment. Last I heard, Mark went back to prison because his defense fell apart without funds. She is living in a motel, trying to sell diet tea on Instagram. Her parents have cut her off until she agrees to serious therapy. As for me, I sold a house. Too many bad memories. I bought a loft in the city. It cost me a ring and a few bad years to learn the price of trust. But seeing the look on her face when she realized she lost the game was worth every penny.